get to a stage where you actually just cannot kill these guys. As we are going to get game number 2 underway. I certainly would like Execration, though, to play a little bit quicker than what they did in game number 1. Do I think they have the draft to do so? Yes, I do, but still could kind of go the other way as well.
2 Dota players in a lane.
Yeah.
They might kiss.
It's gonna be a fun one. I mean, you still have both of them. Well, they're not spamming the voice lines as much, and I think one big factor that changes as well is you don't have Jing on his clock. Although they break the smoke here.
Certainly do. Jing, he'll just pop the brambles and walk away. Not too much they can do about that. Geek fam, I don't believe they'll be giving up first blood here. It seems like they'll just rotate back up towards the top side and just secure the other bounty routes.
Yep. Not gonna go for any shenanigans. Just go for an even trade. I'm curious how Mac plays out this lone Dorito. I don't think this is a hero we've seen Mac play all too often. In fact, I'm trying to remember. Have we seen Mac play this all the way back to 032 Adroit Polaris?
I think we have.
I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure we've seen it a couple times, and the thing is, for me, it's like this hero is so detrimental at some stage, right? Like when the Bear's got his items up and he's ready to go, it's just so hard to control. And for Bob, like you are playing Puck, but it's still not going to be very fun against this low draw in the mid lane. That's for sure. It's going to be a pretty hard CSing time here for Bob.
That it is. Gonna be a little bit of a challenge. Bro Dota after? Is that in game mode? I've been seeing that a lot.
I'm amazed you were able, which makes me
Why did
appreciate it all the more.
Skim? So it's like I thought they're back. You going fast, Daddy?
Yeah, Skim just wants to go home. Skim's got people to see. He doesn't have time for this crap. Come on now.
Yeah, it's coming to lunchtime, so
merry end of time.
Maybe Alphonse got something ready for them there in the Geek Fam team house. 3
well,
for
hold
1
on a
start,
minute.
a lot better for Execration.
Well, Alphonse now managing Geek Fam? Is that correct?
Yes, we haven't seen him in lobby, but I'm pretty sure it should be him. So there you go.
Palos taking a fair bit of damage on his way out, trying to chase down Cox. Again, Jing just being a real menace there with the brambles locking him down long enough, and we'll get into the laning stage. Of course, you are going to have in the mid lane Bob up against Max, so the Puck versus Lone Druid matchup. It's not a very fun matchup for anyone, let alone the Puck, and I imagine Max should have a very good time when it comes to the CS.
Yeah, he ought to. He's got the full branch start from both his bear and himself, so fairly durable, fairly hard to clear out. You can always try to play with the illusory orb, but trying to be aggressive onto the Lone Druid, if you can chip away, sure, but just the fact that the bear can always try to entangle you at some point, can kind of break that up. And again, it's a lot of HP on both these things that you have to take care of for Bob, so gonna have to try to work his way out of this one. It shouldn't be as crushing as the Kunkka lane, at the very least, but it's still not a simple one for Bob, so he's still gonna have to find a way to finagle through this one.
What about those side lanes? Like bottom lane right now, you've got Tino and Shanks up against Natsumi and Skim. And top lane, well, never mind, bottom lane again, Natsumi. It seems like he's going to have a pretty decent time. As top lane, seems like Palos is indeed going to get chased down and does end up tying. Cox securing first blood already, and well, the tips are out immediately from the Primal Beast.
And that's not what you want to see early on. Very early sentry being dropped by Execration as well to block the camp. It doesn't really help, as there's no sentries, offensive sentries down anywhere. There's one sentry blocking the camp here as well that they can't seem to find on Execration's end just yet. And Geek Fam setting up for a good time, like this powerhouse of Cox and Jing. And just ensuring Palos doesn't get a runaway start it's going to be a bit concerning. They will try now onto Cox. He does have his level 2 Onslaught and Trample ready, so more offensive potentials out. Down mid, you did see a little bit of a drop on Mac.
I thought they might have made the jump in on CML, but they don't bother. Yeah, Mac does take a bit of damage, but ultimately is going to be alright. Of course, bottom lane was the one we were trying to talk about earlier, where Natsumi keeping up very easily here against Tino and Shanks. Sure, Tino is finding a lot of farm on the Dawnbreaker, but I don't know if you really care as Geek. As long as Natsumi's hitting creeps, I'm pretty sure they're pretty happy.
Yeah, I think you just kind of let him farm. You're not looking to be too offensive. You can play aggressive down line, especially once Cold Feet us up, but you're not going to get jumped on by this Wraith King. There is a lot of space for Tino to farm up, though. Comparatively much more farm than last game, so he should be able to ramp up on the Stonebreaker, try to hit maybe the Desolator timing if Palos won't opt for that one, and start to play offensively off the back. But although Shanks...
A bit of danger. Shanks is going to go down. Natsumi
Might kiss.
able to secure the kill there with the skeletons, and Tino did not even bother trying to move in and help out. Just kind of accepted the fact that he needs to be able to kind of secure his own lane right now. As mid lane, Bob gonna jaunt away back down to the low ground, not risking getting entangled by the bear, of course.
Yeah, you don't have to... You don't want to have to try to risk it. And you just kind of want to play that farm game. You are still having really good farm for Mac. 20 to 3 in comparison to Bob's 15 to 4. And this is one thing as well. I'm not sure if you're really looking for a support rotation onto mid down the line to try to bully this lone druid before his 6. Like, you've got Shadow Demon and Jakiro that can make their way down. You can try to play off chain stuns, but it just feels like the side lanes for Execration are not at the point where you could leave these lanes alone. Even by, say, the 6-minute mark, it does feel like a tougher bet. Maybe Palos is a little bit better to leave alone, but certainly down bot for Tino, not the safest here to leave out, especially once that chain stunning starts to come in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing the bottom lane, of course, they're just throwing stuns out and just throwing the Ice Vortex right after. Like, they're not even bothering trying with a Cold Feet attempt. He hasn't even schooled it up, and I suppose it just makes enough sense against the Dawnbreaker. Just doesn't need it. Doesn't want it. Just Ice Vortex is just better. We are at the stage of the game now, at least for the laning stage, where both sides seem to be more than happy to just sit back and relax for a little bit. Of course, Mac, top of the CS board right now on the lone druid, is really finding no form of struggle here up against Bob. Very, very easy laning stage for him. He's got the Brown Boots and the Orb of Corrosion now available on the Spirit Bear, so this is where things can get rather painful if you are Bob.
Yeah, this is where the damage really starts to kick in. You're not even at the 6 mark where you could try to play the brute farm if you have the need for it. He's doing a great job of trying to keep this bear low on HP, but again, it's just not enough to fully look for the kill. The respawn is ready on Mac as well. And there you go. Just going to pop it to the means in that lane. Down bot.
Well, they are going to give it a crack here onto the Wraith King. Natsumi does not have level 6 yet and will go down. Great rotations out from Execration, bringing CML over to ensure they have the control here up against Natsumi. And that they did.
Yeah, I like that read coming out from CML, understanding that, sure, the Primal Beast can be a threat, but without any follow-up control...
Oh boy, mid lane. Entangles out on Bob. Bob, he already used the orb, so he is gone. That's what I'm saying, John. Like, these entangles start coming, and you're going to be in pretty massive danger as the pup.
Yep. You've got the level 2 bear up now with a level 3 spirit link, so the damage and healing is there. It's a little bit... It's very hard to shove out. And again, they get a good read on Execration to play bot instead, as it's a little bit easier to manage that Wraith King before you hit 6, but this free time for Mac is of concern. He is going to ramp up rather fast. His bear is going to be equipped with what looks to be perhaps a diffusal buildup earlier on, and once that's up, I mean, Mac's just going to be ready to play for his team. Connect with Cox, give a little bit more room for Natsumi to farm, and try to hit their timings on the Wraith King and start to push in. Like for Execration, again, with this lineup, you kind of want to get a little bit of a quicker push. You've got a Jakira that can melt towers, you've got a Weaver that doesn't need too much farm to start to show itself. Usually with a Falcon Blade, you see some movement out, but let's see if that does pan out. A bit of a smoke play out here from the side of Geek Fam.
They are trying to do something up at this top side. They are looking for the Wisdom Runes right now. CML is going to be able to secure that one quite easily, as Jing is completely ignoring it. And by Execration, they should be able to get away with both. And they will, by the looks of it. Shanks will pick up his own. Seems like the side of Geek Fam, they almost knew that was happening. They just did not even bother moving down to their own position.
Just kind of chill out. Give away the runes, it's fine. Yeah, as you are winning out the lanes, it is a pretty big boon for some of these slower sports, like, say, the Shadow Demon, like especially the Jakiro getting some levels up, having a little bit more control.
Bob?
They haven't managed to stack up as much as you'd expect here in Exa, and mid.
Yeah, Cox is having a look. He's got the Pulverize up, so Bob has to be extremely cautious, because if it does land, well, at least you do have Shanks who's rotated now, so you do have some form of save here for the park. But Cox, he could decide to just go for the easier kill on the Shadow Demon instead. Looks like for now he's going to back off anyway. He's not interested diving that deep. Now Mac is getting plenty of damage off into that mid-tier 1 tower as it stands, so it seems like Cox's presence is not required.
Yeah.
Now I say that. Here we go. Disruption out. Bob does get the shield room, but the chase is now on from Mac. Seems like Mac will give up on it. And you see Execration just continuously keeping both supports around this mid lane to ensure the mid-tier 1 tower does remain defended. For CML, this is unfortunate for CML as, ooh, nice ice path. Does at least cancel off the pulverize, but may not make the difference. The chase is on. CML trying to run, but body blocks are there. He is down. Palos, of course, is he going to try to... No, of course not. He is going to just walk away.
Yeah, again, this movement down mid is maybe a little bit better. You have a better time for Paulus than just farming up solo. You are getting a lot of room out for Tino still. Even left alone, you can just safely clear with a Celestial Hammer. So you're not losing out on as much map space, focusing your resources on mid. And the same thing goes for Geek Fan, though. Like, he defaults into the jungle here down the line for Natsumi. He plays with the skeletons, farms up really fast. Cox playing aggressively early, even without the blade mail, is still pretty damn hard to pin down. So you're more than happy to just put your body forward. They are starting to scout out a little bit more with Shanks, dropping a nice forward ward down bot to watch Natsumi's farm. And Natsumi did go for, you know, the typical farming build up and raking, skipping out in that reincarnation. CML though.
Yeah, they are making the jump into the Jakiro. The Solar Guardian is out. Mac, he will cop all the damage, though he has taken really none of it, as Mac is still happy to chase down the Dawnbreaker. They do at least kill off Jing, and now Mac, he is kind of surrounded as they will just green coil him up, but the Weaver's the one taking too much damage as the entangles. Oh, he just gets entangled the whole time. Tino's still being chased as well. Mac, even without the Spirit Bear, just keeps going, and in comes Cox. Shanks is caught out. Shanks is gone. Just another bad team fight for Execration. I believe they got one support in all of that, and it was Jing, but they lose 4 for their trouble.
Yeah, it's not worthwhile. I mean, they find somewhat of an opening in trying to get Mac, but he gets the true form right as the Solar Guardian lands. They're not able to clip him down. Even with a bear dead, it's just not enough damage. Again, this is what you were talking about in draft. This damage issue that the lineup of Execration has. They don't have that burst. They don't have that early way of taking care of these targets. Not until they get some damage items on the Weaver or the Dawnbreaker. It does feel like that's still pretty far out. And speaking of, Palos just gets pounded a bit. Not going to be under too much trouble, but he is going for Dragonlance as well in this Weaver, rather than, say, a Deso or a Maelstrom.
He's having a look for Palos. He's got the Curse Crown out, but Palos is going to be able to walk away. Such scary times for the Weaver. Like, this is meant to be a super slippery hero, but it does feel like Geek Fam, they are finding ways to make Palos very afraid.
That they have. They've just made it really uncomfy. It's applying that small pressure up top, providing threats. And again, Palos is just going for stats, not straight up damage. Dragonlance is nice, but again, Maelstrom timing's the big one. Desolator timing. And this build for Dragonlance does stall out that damage output.
Here we go. Max here. Brambles is going to land onto CML. He'll try to slow them down with the dual breath, but eventually Cox is going to move in, though he does go the wrong way. No vision available, does leave the area. Bob is going to be on the chase, and he does have a Dream Coil, but he does not have vision himself either. So it seems like everyone is going to be able to walk out of there scot-free. But rather Geek Fam are looking healthy.
Yeah, very healthy. Like, all the space in the world for Natsumi. He's got the Midas up. He is free to just go for his other skills outside of Reincarnation because he's not under threat. He should be able to build into maybe a Radiance really damn fast here. He managed to get the root on Palos. Good God. Unfortunate.
Yikes. That's 20% chance. What can you do? I mean, it just, it happens.
You know,
Sometimes you get entangled.
that's the second hit entangle.
Excellent.
So, all calculated for Mac as they find the tower as well. And they can start to really shut down this map. Like, the only hero really getting some farm out right now is Tino. He does have Phase Boots and the Bracer up, maybe going for that Blade Mail next, which it is flying out. But, again, no early Deso Rush, which you don't really expect from Dawnbreaker, but it still means that you don't have a steady source of damage just yet. Like, the damage is starting to pile up. Maybe once you get more points in your Luminosity plus the Starbreaker, it can start to burst down the backline. But you're never finding the backline. Like, you've got to depend on something like Bob getting an orb forward into the Solar Guardian with Dream Coil to find the back, to clean up these softer targets into the team fight. But the front line's just so intimidating, and the front line has a lot of control. Like Lone Druid with Fear down the line, a Primal Beast with his Onslaught.
Well, at least he's gonna know he's underneath vision. CML will get that information thanks to the inhibit being used by Mac. That's about it. That's it's still very hard. Like, this section of the map is just being controlled by Geek Fam, and well, even the D-Wards now coming out against CML.
At the very least, it's, well, some space coming out. You know, you are at least farming Palos. He is going for the Deso next, so that's where your damage will come in. But it's almost reminiscent of Game 1, right? It's Geek Fam kind of skirmishing across the river every now and again, mainly focusing on that farm, focusing on that timing. They're trying to get this blink up on Cox. He has that blade mail up.
Palos got to be so careful. Like, he's done this before, and if Jing does get the brambles off, it's very hard to get away from Mac. Luckily this time, Jing will not try for it. Smoke out from Execration. From the mid lane, they're going to run towards the Radiant Triangle. It's like Cox and Skem both going to be standing on the high ground of that area, and Cox will break the smoke and immediately try to run, but Bob gets the vision, but the Dream Coil! Oh, I mean, you might still get Skem, but here comes Mac! Oh, not Bob! They'll get the Ice Blast, or rather the Ice Path, but the Ice Blast is going to land. Bob is down! So is CML. Just, nothing's happening, nothing's working for Execration.
Nah, we talked about how much they need that Dream Coil and Solar Guardian to connect. Dream Coil fails, you're not going to get that follow-through from Tino. And again, well, all that movement happens. Natsumi's just free farming. This Wraith King's going to have Radiance. You've got these early timings already lined up for Mac. Has the Echo Saber now on the Bear. So it's going to be hard to shove him away. Blink flying out now for Cox. There's not that much play for Exa until these items come in, until these connections happen. Like, if maybe Bob goes for a blink and tries to just rip the back line up with backup from Tino, that could be one way to go, but we're also a long way off from something like that blink on the puck here for Bob.
I mean, that we certainly are. Seems like Geek Fam, they're the ones that are going to keep getting aggressive, drawing the lines into the mid lane again. Seeing Bob just farming the creep wave, they want to have a crack at this man. Mac gonna reveal himself, trying to bait him forward, but Bob, obviously understanding the danger, wants to walk away from this, I think. There are even more lines being drawn out. Now Execration moving their way up towards that mid lane. Cox, not afraid of anything, just gonna walk straight up to the high ground. We'll see Bob, but doesn't get the pulverize, and neither does he get the onslaught, but in comes Mac, looking for an entangle. Bob, how lucky can you get? You're not very lucky. The brambles will land. He is down. Solar Guardian out to try and help, but now Tino's been fed. The bear is hungry. The bear will eat as Cox moves right in onto Shanks. Finds himself an extra Shadow Demon. Palos forced to rotate to try and get something for his team. But Natsumi, he'll threaten him and force him back. At least Cox does go down. But now you'll lose CML to boot. An ultra kill for Mac on the Spirit Bear. Rather than Lone Druid.
Yep.
And at the tier 2 mid tower, it's not going to last at this rate.
No, it's certainly not. You've got the output on Mac. You've got the siege coming in with the Lone Druid. And Execration. I mean, there's just no easy way to take these fights. Like, I don't know if anything else outside of just Dream Coil in and Solar Guardian onto the softer back, but you can't even find that back line. You've got to deal with this really tanky front line. You're not even fighting into Natsumi all too often yet.
I mean, Palos reveals himself on Skem, but just kind of tickles the AA. Skem just not really threatened whatsoever by the way of his presence. In Palos, to be fair, is working on towards the Desolator, but just doesn't really feel like it's happening quick enough. And look at Skem, he's just casually walking up to the Weaver. When do you see this? In fact, oh no! Oh no! Oh, Palos, no!
You were doing very well. I'm very proud of you.
I don't know if that's a good bait or a bad chase. You know,
It could be both, right?
Okay.
It's
We'll
not
say it's
mutually
both.
exclusive. It's both. It's a good bait and a bad chase. Very well played out from Geek Fam, of course. Finding that big kill, 16-3. I don't know what the win condition is now. I mean, if you don't get that team fight going your way, maybe try to split push, try to stall out. But even I don't really believe those words here, Mike. It's grasping for straws.
Yeah. You sure are, John. You sure are. Geek Fam. No, they'll just continue taking over the map now, getting the outpost in that diet triangle, taking all the camps away. 12k advantage at 18 minutes into the game. Kind of funny as well, considering, John, this is an open qualifier team, theoretically. The Geek Fam?
They both are, technically.
Alright, John. Jing. Brambles out. Catches CML. Oh, they found Palos!
No.
He will survive, though.
Oh,
Time lapse is there in time. They will make it out. CML, maybe not so lucky, does go down, but Tino jumps in after Natsumi, but Natsumi, he's got the secondary life, so Tino forced to pop the BKB. He'll keep trying to chase Natsumi down. They've got him very low. Natsumi should be going down as now Mac moves in. He wants Tino. Tino with the BKB trying to run, turns back around for the Solar Guardian, wanting the Spirit Burn. He will actually get it. Though Tino is still going down as Cox now going to move in. He's on a Shanks, but the disruption will buy a bit of time. But not for long. He is gone. It's now Tino. Bob is gone. Bob just melts the bedlam damage on the Spirit Bearers. Mac looking for Palos. They'll get the terrorize. Palos, he's been entangled up. He is going down another time. And now Cox is in again. He's found CML. Oh my goodness. What aggression. As Cox will die.
You were doing very well.
But Geek Fam, I mean, they are just annihilating Execration this best of 3.
That they are. A little bit curious. I don't like picking on my fellow John, Mr. John Anthony Vargas, but Natsumi did walk back into the macro fire, walk back out of it, and walk back into it, trying to kind of decide where he wanted to pad out, and it kind of made his secondary life null and void. Really good early BKB usage from Tino as well, to ensure that he wouldn't get rate fire blasted, just cutting off that DPS window for Natsumi to try to play with that secondary life. And that did lead to a couple of wins for Execration, but not enough to turn the tide of this game just yet. As Geek Fam, well, they're still in full control. Only one outer tower left for the side of Execration. They are starting to get a little bit of a farm ramp up. Maelstrom up for Palos, going for the BKB next. And you've got the BKB on Tino, and he's going to carry the Desolator for the team now. So some damage can start to pump in, but again, it's still going to take a little bit more time, and it's down to Geek Fam maybe slipping up in positioning, getting this good macro power off from CML to simplify these fights a little bit can help. They will find the Tormentor, and Shanks will take that for the Demonic Cleanse. No Ags, but even just one charge of the Cleanse can feel pretty big. So that's a pretty big boon for Execration, but it doesn't feel like it's nearly going to be enough. It will give them more options to play with, though.
They're trying. They are certainly trying. Top lane. They're looking at Bob. Bob's going to be quick. Natsumi, blink in. Will miss out for now. They know where the orb's going, but Bob does manage to jaunt away. Quick enough.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yep. Bailing out, stalling out. Like, Bob's got to start playing split push. He doesn't have travels. It's a little bit harder for him to work his way across the map, but if you can just keep stalling the game, buy some space to farm. Again, just try to build up, and that is one way to come back in. Smoke out from Geek Fam, though. Not looking to give those opportunities out.
Radiant's middle tower.
Oh boy. Oh, there you go. They'll find another. Shanks is gone. Nothing could be done. Roshan now available. Natsumi's already started, and there will be no contest. Execration have no choice in this matter, I don't think.
Nah. You've got to give it out. And again, you're still hitting critical mass on a lot of his farm. Mac already has the 2 Wraith Bands on that Lone Druid, so he's got a decent amount of armor and attack speed to play with it, and some more damage as a universal type. Roshan not going to take too long to melt. Secondary life can be handed over to Mac if they so wish. And they will. It's always funnier if you hand it to the Wraith King, but I suppose that's a little bit griefy as well.
Bob.
It's funnier.
Bob's in a bit of an awkward position right now. He'll go for a TP out, and they won't be able to reach him. He's okay.
Yeah, he's just creep cutting as best as he can. Stall this game out. But he has to stall for a long time. That is one thing. We have seen a lot of pucks do that though. Right? We've seen pucks kind of stall out. And Bob is doing his best to get that done, going for his own Maelstrom for some more wave clear. And still, it's down to Geek Fam. Like, they've got the initiative, and they've got tempo on their side. They just need to go for this last outer tower and go for high ground with the Aegis, with the secondary life on Natsumi. There's really not much holding you back here.
Here we go again. 3-man smoke out from Geek Fam, looking to go through the mid-river. Down towards the bottom side of the map. They might run into CML. CML. Well, Natsumi completely ignores him, continuing down towards the bottom side where they might find Bob or Shanks. Meanwhile, CML, he does not! Quick TP out. It's going to be fast enough as Natsumi, in the meantime, is still chasing. They are only going to find Shanks. They do miss out on Tino. They will miss out on Bob. But it's still a kill at the end of the day. But I think Execration more than happy to just keep creep skipping and buying themselves time.
Yeah, and did get some high ground pressure coming out from Mac, trying to shove in top. The brief wave is taken care of by Palos. I mean, that is one thing for Execration. Although, Bobby...
At the onslaught, they know which way he's going, but they will not reach. Bob's okay for now. In comes Scam on the other side with the Vortex out. Can they get him? I think they can, as Bob does get caught eventually. And so no pesky puck to worry about now for 45.
Yeah, don't have anything to wait for. Cox Courier dies, but should still be able to buy the heart with a recipe in his backpack, and there you go. So now you've got the 3.4k HP final piece up front, along with your Raid King with a secondary life.
Natsumi.
BKB Natsumi.
He's taking a lot of damage here. It's going to be okay.
2 Dota players in a lane.
Mac's going to move in again. Fear out. Does actually catch Tino with the entangle. And Tino, you're not forced to pop the BKB yet. He will survive another day.
They did have to pop the Macropyre early, so you're not going to have that for this high ground defense now.
Doesn't get the BKB this time though. Tino's blown up. Tino is gone. Cox is in. Dreamcoil was committed. They could try at least for Natsumi or maybe the Spirit Bearer of Mac, but they are just taking no damage. There goes the first life at least for Natsumi now, so he has to back his way out of there. And that they will. So they will hold that tier 3 bottom tower. Geek Fam looking like they might think about moving back in though. And in fact they will. I mean, Mac's got the bear. He's actually got the Weaver now. But Disruption does come out. That'll save for now as Palos forced the BKB and run. We'll make it out. They will lose that tier 3 tower. And Mac is continuing to move forward. He does not care as that Cox is in with the Pulverize out. They've got Bob again. I mean, what do you do? 45 seconds again without the puck. It's pretty rough this game. And it might just be over.
It certainly feels that way. Dota Plus wouldn't be too far off the mark as well. 99% the side of Geek Fam now by win probability. Execration, again, it's almost the same situation as Game 1 where they have some decent high ground. You've got Macropyre, you've got Dream Coil. You can try to play off the back of the Solar Guardian combination still, but it's just too much HP. There's just not enough output, even with the Deso up on Tino. No plus damage yet, hasn't been able to find a kill off the back of that fresh Deso. You're still trying to work onto more damage for Palos, going into the full Mjolnir. You still have some creep cutting to do. You know, top wave isn't quite in the position for them to try to siege off the back of that just yet. So you can try to keep for the stall game. At the very least, Aegis only has about half a minute, less than half a minute left. So it is set to just go, which means that you should have a little bit more time if Geek Fam will want to play it safe and wait for next Roshan. But again, the opportunities they're just not lining up. There is a little bit of overlap here for the side of Geek Fam though. They are going for a double Assault Cuirass.
Palos. Brambles is going to connect. He does have the Solar Guardian to help out, but it's a lot of damage on Palos. Still, he will survive. He'll make it with the BKB time lapse. He'll survive another day, but now Tino needs his own way out. So he will BKB TP himself, but now the chase continues for Palos. As the Weaver, though, looks like they are going to leave him be.
a little bit too hard to catch. At least they find a kill. Pretty high net worth kill. Though they will sacrifice Shanks, but again, that will still a worthwhile trade for Execration. Not unless the high ground opens up here. Mid creep wave is cleared out, but the new wave is coming in with no cuts. And they'll just get to town here, Geek Fam.
Radiant are scanning.
Glyph will be forced. Max not looking to back off though. He does have a creep wave on the way. Natsumi having a hunt around, seeing if he can find a stun onto Tino, but not so lucky. Bobby's trying to rotate to get the next wave in the mid lane, but it's looking rather tough because now they glyph up their own creep wave. That'll be the mid-rack's gone, and that'll be enough for Geek Fam for now. They won't stick around to try and secure Megas, but rather they'll come back for it a little bit later. See if they can find Bob though. Bob, he's gonna jaunt towards the south, but it seems like Tino is well aware where he is, and Tino, or rather Jing, excuse me, is the one to find him. He does get the brambles off. The puck is gonna try and jaunt away once again and does make it out for now, but Skem is chasing him down on the AA. It doesn't seem like he'll get caught. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Natsumi forced the BKB up for his first life. Mac has sent the bear in, but the bear will go down the first line as now they'll go back in. They'll find Tino. There goes your Dawnbreaker, and there goes Shanks and the Shadow Demon. Now it's a 14 fight. Execration. Can they actually get anything for their trouble? They'll try to chase down Jing, but Palace is going to be so careful because the chase is on. Bob is gone to boot. The puck has already been lost. They're buying back left, right, and center, but doesn't mean anything. Maybe they'll find Mac, and they do, but Natsumi's the real problem now. He's on a Palos. Disruption will save though. He'll buy a bit of time. CML now buying back, moving into the team fight as Cox. Cox is trying to remove himself from the scenario. Meanwhile, Natsumi looking to wrap up around from the backside. He'll find Shanks. Cox still going. Actually finds one. Before he does go down, Palos will drop with him. Jing trying to run away from Tino. Will make it out. A messy, messy team fight. And I believe Geek Fam well and truly won the team fight. So many buybacks committed, but the goal change does favor Execration.
Yeah, it's worthwhile for Execration. They find some big targets. That kill on these two cores was massive. And a little bit awkward for Natsumi. He doesn't have a shard. He doesn't have mana. He buys the shard now. So he's not going to have to worry about his mana pool, but he couldn't go all in because he just didn't have mana to play with. Like, he couldn't try to pop Reincarnate, which made it so that the Raid King can pop his damage out there to try to really win out through the buybacks, and Execration finds themselves a little bit of a window. They stay in the game. You're starting to get some charges up for Tino. The damage output of the Dawnbreaker is starting to ramp up, especially with that level 20 talent up now. -1 attack for the Luminosity to proc. Pretty massive in terms of trying to play around with your Starbreaker here. There's a little bit more coming out, but needs a little bit more as well. They need to be able to contest the next Roshan in 2 minutes. That's the next objective Geek Fam is more than likely going to set their eyes out for. They do have the double Assault Cures ready. You know, Mac and good old Natsumi have picked up one each, which it's awkward, but it can work considering that sometimes Natsumi's off firing by himself, split pushing, so there is some utility to come out there. Smoke out here.
Roshan's still about 1:50 away, so plenty of time for Execration to try and set up a decent Roshan fight. The problem is, though, Geek Fam are the ones coming to them. Lines being drawn through the bottom lane, where Tino will show himself in just a moment. Cox is moving in. He has the blink available if he needs it, though. Tino does retreat with the Celestial Hammer. But they are still looking to sneak their way in. This is very unexpected. From Geek Fam, this is not something you would hope to see. Cox immediately jumps. And well with that, Tino, but he's going to try and survive a little bit longer, actually making it out with the BKB, but no, the Harpoon from the Spirit Bear, dragging him back into the Ice Blast. Tino is gone. CML also being caught. Skem does go down on the AA. Palos able to secure that one as Palos now being entangled up for a second and feared up, but it seems like Geek Fam are the ones trying to retreat. Though I say that, Natsumi, he's back in. That's a dieback for CML. It's a dieback for Tino. And now it's 4v3 in the favor of Geek Fam. Looks like they want to try and go for that top racks for now as Palos continues to just kind of Sakuchi around the side of Geek Fam. Oh, Palos.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Disruption's going to buy a bit of time. Bob's forced to jump in, but Palos is in so much danger. Palos is gone. Buyback immediately. It's looking rather hard now. They are in dire straits without these buybacks available. They cannot afford to die once. Natsumi looking for a stun, won't find it yet onto the puck. Bob will blink away. Natsumi taking a fair bit of damage here from our Weaver. Looking to retreat. Execration, they could hope for a chase. They do have the coil to commit and they will do so. Keep in mind, the Wraith King does have his secondary life, so they could turn this one around and they will try to do so. Who have they got? Oh, it's Palos. Disruption will save just a little bit, but it won't be for long. Palos is gone. Bob is trapped between a rock and a hard place right now, unable to defend, and well, with that, John, Mega Creep's incoming, and without a buyback available on the Weaver, it's as good as GG, I think.
It does feel that way. At the very least, Tino coming out, maybe they can do something with his defense. With its damage, but it's easier said than done.
Now, Bob's trying to fight Skem. Skem actually just manning up here in the tree line, and well, he will go down, but Bob, he got hit by the Ice Blast, so he's not looking healthy at the moment. One hit should do it. Bob able to blink away, but they'll get the stun. That'll be the puck down. Gem picked up. And it's off to the races again. Back to the Dire base they go.
Yeah. Just 2 tier 4s left standing. Well, with some junk buildings up, but doesn't really matter here. There's some time until the respawn. I mean, 40 seconds is a long time. Without the puck. Oh god, Cox.
He just has no fear, this bloke. In they go. Tino pops his BKB, tries one last time to defend this, but GG is called. Palos has seen enough. There is no defending to happen. As the Bear can just focus down the Ancient if it requires. And well, with that Execration, they will be knocked down to the lower bracket.